Hi guys, welcome back to another video. I hope you're all doing really well today. It's so strange to be back. I've just been away for 10 days on a silent meditation retreat and I really want to talk to you all a little bit about it today, but just talking is so strange and being back in front of the camera is a really strange experience, so just bear with me. I'll try and condense my thoughts and make this video as concise as possible, but I apologise if there's a lot of cuts and stuff because my thoughts are very scattered and I've got a lot to cover in this video and I really want to do the experience that I've had justice, if that makes sense. So yeah, just bear with me and I'll do the best that I can. So yeah, I've just been on a 10-day silent meditation retreat and it's called Vipassana meditation. I think it's pronounced Vipassana, that's how the man said it. So I was calling it Vipassana until that point, so I'm going to call it Vipassana. Hopefully that's right. So yeah, this video is going to be very long because it's 10 days of my life. I've got a lot to talk about. I want to talk about all the 10 days and all the experiences I had, so it's going to be a long video. So I will leave timestamps below. I'll split it into different parts and then you can just skip to whichever parts you want to watch. I don't expect anyone to watch the whole thing at all, but there might be some interesting parts, to listen to, and others maybe you won't be so interested. But yeah, I just want to do it justice and say everything that I want to say in this video. And also just mention that this is my understanding and I might get some things wrong, I might say the wrong words and stuff, but this is what I've taken away from it and I just want to share my experience. And I'm not saying this is how it is, it's just my understanding and yeah, how I've perceived it. So Vipassana is basically learning the art of living, learning how to live, how to truly live, how to live a compassionate life, how to exist without harming other beings, and how to just be the best human being that you possibly can be. And to do that, you have to liberate yourself from all of the miseries of your life. So, throughout life we all have hard times, we all have people that die in life, some hard things happen, and every time those things happen, we either respond with craving or aversion. So if we crave something, it's because it's being good, we seek approval from others, we enjoy something, it's a pleasant sensation, we want more of it, and we're never happy. And so to live an ego-driven life, a lot of people, when they've got lots and lots of money and they, you think that they're so happy, but they're deeply miserable because they've got all of this stuff and they just keep buying more and more stuff because they're just craving, and they're never happy with what they've got. They'll always want the next thing, and it's just this addiction to craving that causes deep misery inside. And then the other one, aversion, if something awful happens, you just want to get away from it, you want to run away, you want to hide. If you're in pain, you'll move, you'll change your position, you'll do anything you can to avoid pain. And by doing that, you're training your brain to avoid pain, repressed thoughts, repressed memories. And so a lot of us do, and people have repressed memories and you're buried deep inside and you think that they're gone, but they're not gone, and they do affect us every single day. So Vipassana is a technique where you basically learn to observe the sensations of your body, and it brings up all of these old thoughts, old memories, and they manifest themselves as pain, or he calls them intense sensations, blocks of sensation all over the body. And so throughout the 10 days you get different various blockages of energy. So for me, mine was in my hip, so painful, right deep inside, and it was unbearable at some points. And then towards the end that went away and it progressed into this intense tension headache, pressure in the middle of my head. So as you sit with that pain, you have to learn how to just be at one. So he calls it be equanimous, be at peace with the pain. Don't react to it with craving if it's nice, and don't run away from it if it's painful, basically, is the gist of Vipassana. You learn to just be with it. You learn that everything changes, nothing stays the same, everything always changes. And he's really good at telling stories, and every night there's evening discourses, so an hour every single night he'll talk through the day and what you've been learning. He does theory and then experience, so you experience something and then he'll explain the theory afterwards. So yeah, it's been really good, and I've learned a lot, and I've really enjoyed the discourses. I feel like I've got a lot more understanding about things, and it's given me a broader knowledge of my understanding of the world and the way my thoughts and feelings can affect the world around me and things like that. And yeah, one of the things he said is we think things change. You think if you chisel, say if you draw a line in the sand that's not going to be there forever. When the sea comes in, the tides change, that will be washed away and it will be gone. And so, you know, you could chisel a deep, deep line into a big boulder, you know, really, really deep. Over the years, that's going to just, you know, erode away, erode away, erode away, and then one day it will be gone and, you know, it won't be there anymore. So nothing is permanent, everything is impermanent. And once you grasp that concept and you sit in meditation for like an hour, 2 hours, and you just sat there in immense pain, you realise that this too shall pass. And that's one of the things he says. And that's been like the best thing that I've got from this. Like, everything passes and everything is a sensation and it comes in waves. So you're in pain right this second, but just wait 2 minutes, wait 5 minutes, it might be an hour, but just wait and it will pass. Nothing stays the same. So yeah, that is like my biggest takeaway from it. And it's been truly like life-changing just to have that thought, you know. Today I went on a run and I was in pain and I was like, this too shall pass. Like, work through the pain, work through the pain. It's not going to kill you, you're going to be fine. Like, as long as you've not broken your ankle and you carry on running, like, everything's fine and you just got to carry on. So I've had a lot of benefits, I've had a lot of good outcomes, I've had a lot of epiphanies. Like, it's been an intense experience. So I want to go through kind of each day, just give you a little breakdown, a little run through of my thoughts, my feelings and emotions. And I'm going to start the video, I mean, I've already been blabbering for 7 minutes, so yeah, I just want to start the video by saying Vipassana is not easy. It's so immensely difficult. Every single part of it is hard. There is nothing easy about it. Like, I think out of all of the 10 days, I maybe had like 1 or 2 good days. Out of all of those days, the rest of the days I just wanted to run away. So yeah, you know, I suffer with anxiety and I also suffer with social anxiety, and so my biggest problem was getting there, arriving, knowing what time to arrive, having to talk to all of these people completely by myself. I removed all of my like comfort barriers. You're not allowed your phone, you're not allowed to read, write, you know, you're not allowed any sensual entertainment. You are just with yourself. You've only got nature and you've only got, you know, your body, your thoughts. You've got no like external stimulus, nothing to distract yourself with at all. So yeah, day 1 I just arrived and, you know, made my bed and everything was really good. I was going so well, and then I just sat down on my bed and looked around and I was like, what do I do now? Like, what now? What do I do? I didn't know what to do. Like, I've never just had nothing to do. I just couldn't understand what I was going to do. And I just burst into tears. I was just like, what are you doing here? Why are you doing this? I don't understand why. Why are you going to torture yourself for 10 days? 10 days seemed like such a long time. Like, at that point I still had 10 whole days ahead of me and I had no idea what I was going to encounter, what I was going to experience, and it was terrifying. And yeah, anyway, I consoled myself and I went for a walk around the grounds, and it was so beautiful. Like, they're all set in such beautiful remote locations and nature, and there's trees and birds and there was snowdrops and it was gorgeous. And so I felt a little bit better after my walk, and then watched his evening discourse and I felt a bit more motivated for the next day. So I went to sleep, and I'm going to leave below like the timetable. So I won't go through it right now, but you can look below if you're interested in like the breakdown of the day. You get up at 4 AM and then there's meditation for a few hours, and you have breakfast, and then there's loads and loads of meditation. Like, it's more than 9 hours a day. It depends how much you do yourself really, but there's like 3 solid hours of meditation, like separate hours that you have to be in the hall for. So every day you do at least 3 hours of meditation, and the rest of it's kind of up to you. So yeah, you know, and then you go to bed at 9:30. So it's an intense experience. You don't sleep as much as you would normally, and that can have an impact too, but you're not moving, you're not eating as much, you only get 2 meals a day, and after like the midday meal, which is at 11 o'clock, there's no more food apart from you're allowed 2 pieces of fruit and tea and coffee at 5, and then that's it. Like, there's nothing else. And the first few days it's very difficult, and you know, emotional eating is a thing that, you know, I have, and I didn't find it too hard. I feel like I wasn't in a calorie deficit. I eat 2 meals a day. Like, currently I do intermittent fasting, so it wasn't that much of a lifestyle change for me, but it was the wrong end of the day. So I don't eat breakfast and I eat tea, or dinner as some people call it, whereas this time, like for this experience, it was flipped upside down, and I usually go to bed at like 1 or 2 in the morning, and now I was getting up at 4, and it's like it's just very strange, very strange. So yeah, anyway, day 1 started, and you know, I started out feeling really good. I got straight up, 4 o'clock, my alarm went off and I was out of bed. Like, I'm not someone who snoozes my alarm, I'm not, and it drives Dom absolutely mental because he is a snoozer. But I just can't do it. Like, if my alarm goes off, I'm out of bed, like I'm up, I'm done. So I got up and got ready, went to this meditation in the morning in the hall, and I was just like, oh my gosh, what am I gonna do? Because the first few days you focus on breathing, you focus on concentrating on the sensation inside your nostrils, like the feeling of the breath coming in and out, in and out, in and out. To do that for a whole hour, like uninterrupted, is intense. Like, to just be with your own thoughts for all that time. So to distract myself from that, I decided to start plotting my escape. Like, I was gonna leave, and I had all these like amazing foolproof plans, like it was going to be awesome, and I was just going to be able to leave and no one would even know. And you know, you go insane. Like, you just start to do all of these silly things, and I thought, I won't tell anyone that I want to leave because I don't want to look weak. and I thought, I'll stay till the evening discourse, and then I'll see how it is, and I'll probably leave tomorrow, you know. Like, I needed to give it at least a day. And so I did that, and I watched the evening discourse, and in it he just said about how people like want to leave, and you spend the whole time plotting your escape. And I was just like, it's like he's inside my brain, like how does he know what I've been up to? And so it's just really funny to see like that the human mind is not just limited to me, and that other people like deal with the same things, because everyone in the room laughed, like as if everyone had been doing the exact same thing. Like, we all came to meditate, yet all of us were doing the absolute opposite of meditating. So you know, it was really lighthearted, really happy, like discourse. We all felt really good after it. Went to sleep, woke up on day 2, and I was like, today I need to meditate, today I need to do what I'm supposed to be doing. And so it started off quite well. Like, the mornings I found that I was really like motivated and happy, and it was good. And then, you know, like as the day went on, I started to just, my thoughts would go away for like 20 minutes, and then I'd come back and be like, oh, I'm supposed to be like focusing on my breathing. So then I'd focus on my breathing for like 5 seconds, what felt like 5 seconds, and then I'd be gone again somewhere else. Like, and you just keep doing this, and it's so annoying, and you just like, come back. And then he's like, you've got to remain equanimous. And I'm just like, how can I remain equanimous when I just keep like going away and then coming back? And you get really frustrated. And I had 5, 6, 7, 8 by the steps on like on repeat in my head all day, and that in itself can make a person go insane. So yeah, you just like have repetitive thoughts, you have the same thought over and over again, you get a song stuck in your head and you just find yourself singing along to it endlessly, and it drives you insane. So yeah, I spent the free time, like the, you know, the meditation periods where you can meditate in your room, where you can meditate in the hall, and I just practiced yoga, or went to the toilet like 60 times, or like brushed my hair, or put coconut oil on. Like, I did anything I could to just not be meditating, which is just like avoidance completely, and I will openly accept that I did that. And so I watched the discourse in the evening, and he explained about how you do everything other than meditate, and I was just like, oh my gosh, like I've been doing just that. And so day 3 I woke up and I was like out of bed, and I decided that I was going to be really focused. And I think like halfway through, maybe like through the morning after breakfast, I thought to myself, because until this point he'd said you can move, if you're uncomfortable just move, you know, you don't put yourself under pressure to stay still, do what you need to do to be comfortable, to be able to focus, you know, like. So I'd been moving all around, and then I was sat there thinking, which I shouldn't have been doing, I should have been meditating, but you know. I thought every meditation I've ever done has never been as intense as this, but you've never been allowed to move. And so I was like, I don't understand why he's allowing us to move, because if I don't move, then I'll be more focused. So I set a challenge for myself for the 3 like separate meditations that we had to be in the hall. I was like, it's my challenge to not move a single muscle. And so that day, I know it was funny because day 3 I did 3 hours of it. I sat still every single meditation, like those 3 meditations. So for 3 whole hours that day, not in a row, but like 3 whole hours, I sat still, and it was amazing. Like the first time I did it, I was just like, oh, I can't believe I did it, and like I felt so good afterwards. And I found it a lot easier to stop my thoughts from going away, and because you're in pain, like you're in intense pain, it stops your thoughts from going away as much. And yeah, I kind of figured that out. And then he did the discourse day 3 and said that on day 4, like, you weren't supposed to move. And I was like, I am ahead of the game. I felt like I was winning, you know, like, yes, I've already achieved what he wants me to do for day 4. And so on day 4, he actually teaches you the Vipassana technique, which is a big day, and it's a very intense day because, like I said, you know, not moving causes immense pain in your legs, in your feet, in your bum, in your back. Like, it burns and it hurts and it's so painful, like on every single level possible. And your thoughts are going here and there and you're thinking of awful situations, and it's just like the most intense experience I've ever had in my whole life. And so yeah, I call day 4 like the day of torture. And so every day from that point, I would say 5 more days of torture, 3 more days of torture. Like, every day was torture and it was awful. And so yeah, basically, you know, I said at the beginning of the video about craving or aversion. When you do those things, it causes, he calls them sankharas, so like a deep-rooted emotion, and it stores itself somewhere in your body. So by being able to scan, because like Vipassana is like scanning your body from top to bottom, so head to feet and then feet to head. So you scan each single part and you find where the pain is. So, you know, if you've been sat for all that time, you might have pain in your shoulder, pain in your back, pain in your legs, like, and you can feel where the pain is, and it's just like a blockage of energy, just like this immense like pressure feeling or burning feeling or just like stabbing pain. And you can pinpoint, and you know, you can search it really, really thoroughly, and you can find exactly where it hurts. And so he tells you to focus like exactly on that pain and, you know, go to the root of it. But while you're doing this, you can't say like, oh my god, I'm in so much pain, oh my god, this hurts, ow, ow, ow. You've got to stay equanimous, you've got to stay happy, you've got, not happy, but like at peace. You've just got to have no affliction to it. You've got to not crave it. You know, if it's pleasant, don't want more of it. You've got to just remain balanced, a balanced mind. And yeah, by doing that, like over the next few days, I like managed to remove this pain in my bum. Like, it went away on day 5, which was weird because I've always had it, and I think it's a little bit of sciatica. And when I drive or like sit down for a long time, I get this like really deep, intense pain, and it's awful, and it lasts for a lot of days. And if I've been sat too much, then it always comes up. And so because I'd driven there, I'd ended up with this pain, and then it had come up on day 4, and it stayed with me. And so I you know, stayed with this feeling. And, you know, day 4 was so painful, and day 5 I woke up, did the meditations, and I didn't know what I was going to do. Like, I was in so much pain, and I was on the verge of tears in my meditations because it was so painful, but I was so determined that I wasn't going to move that I just sat through the pain. And, you know, you can talk to the teachers at certain points, and so she was like, are you feeling any sensations? And I was like, I'm in so much pain. And she's like, just stay with the pain, be equanimous. And I'm just like, how can I be equanimous? It's so painful. So I would try and remain equanimous, and I'd try and find it, and I pinpointed exactly where it hurt and just focused on it, focused on it, focused on it. And then by the end of day 5, I was sat there with no pain, like no pain at all. And that pain in my hip did not come back the whole time, and I still haven't got it, and I drove home. And so I don't know like where it's gone. And obviously, like, with the technique, that would mean that that was an emotion, a stored emotion that I have like liberated myself from, which is amazing. And, you know, a lot of people I spoke to, they'd got serious, like different things wrong with them, and they'd eradicated them too, which was really cool. So yeah, and day 5 came, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm halfway through, and then I realized I still had the exact same amount to go again. So I wasn't so pleased at that point, and day 5 was very challenging. I was so ready to go home, so ready to go home. I wanted it to be over. I really wanted it to be over. Every cell in my body wanted to leave. And so on day 6 I woke up, and I wasn't feeling too motivated. I wasn't feeling like I wanted to be there anymore. And so through, you know, doing the Vipassana technique, the meditations, halfway through the day I realized I had immense headache, like the worst headache I've ever had in my life. It was so painful, like really deep inside the middle of my face and my forehead, this pressure, like this really hard pressure, just pressing, and it was so painful. And the more I focused on it, the worse it got, and it would get so bad that it would take over like my whole head. And then, you know, like it would feel like my head was about to implode. And then as it like reached its climax, my eyes would, like, you know when you look into the sun and you get all those blind spots, that would happen, and I would just be like, what is going on? And then it would pass, and then it would literally come back like, I don't know, like a minute later, and I'd be like, not again. So I tried to stay equanimous with it, and I will tell you now, that headache has not gone away. That's kind of stayed. It's not as bad as it was the first few days, and I feel like there's various spots throughout my head where I've like managed to focus on the pain and it's dispersed the pain, but I feel like I've got a lot of like tension areas in my head, and I know I grind my teeth in my sleep, and I have really bad like tension in my jaw. I get tension headaches all the time, so it's really interesting to see that that's come up, you know, in this technique. Of all the sitting I've done and everything, all I've got is headache. It's so weird, and because of the headache, you know, it takes over the rest of the sensations, but you have to focus yourself and, you know, not distract yourself from the pain, but remember that you've got a whole body as well as your head. So, you know, that was a challenging day, and in day 7 I just tried to focus on everything, not just my head, because the more you focus on the pain, the more pain you're going to experience. So you've got to stay equanimous with it all. I hope I've not lost any of you at this point, but I'm trying to make as much sense and be as literate as I can, but it's quite difficult because it's been such a roller coaster of emotions and I experienced so many different things. But yeah, day 7 was a good day. Day 7 was, you know, an interesting day for me. I was struggling with the meditation again, you know, it was really difficult, and I was managing to stay sat in one position for the hour sit-ins, and it was really interesting because I feel like on day 7 there was this change in everybody. Like everybody around me changed. Everyone just became so into themselves. Like we all just floated around the meditation center and we would like look at leaves as if we'd never seen a leaf in our lives, and we all stood and watched a little robin in the tree for literally like half an hour, and it was just really interesting to see the social barriers break down. We all just became childlike. Like people would just stand swaying and like looking at the sunshine and looking at the clouds and laying in the sun, and it was really funny to see just people doing what they wanted to do rather than what they think they should be doing. Like that kind of thought pattern went away, and I remember just walking around and I heard this like rustling, and I was like, oh my gosh, what is that? And I sat down and squatted, and I like looked deep inside, and I felt like David Attenborough. Like I was in my own nature program in my head, and there was a little tiny mouse just running around and a blackbird stomping around, and every time the blackbird would stomp, the little mouse would like become really quiet, and then he'd get his courage up again and he'd start running around, and it was fascinating. Like I don't know how long I sat there watching this whole like thing play out, but I was just really like connected to the beauty of nature, and I was just like, this is so cool. Like and I would never have seen that normally. Normally I would just be like on a mission walking, you know. So that day was like a breakthrough day, and I was like, wow, you know, it's so good to be in the moment. It's so good to remove yourself from all the distractions in life and just see nature, see life as it happens, you know, each day. So that was a really interesting day. It was a challenging day, but it was also a day of breakthrough for me as well. Day 8 and 9 were very hard days. They were like the most intense days ever, and they're like where the Vipassana technique becomes really strong and you have to really focus on the pain, and the pain becomes really, really intense. And I wanted to leave so much on day 8, and day 9 to be fair too, I still had so long, and the thing he says all the way throughout is don't crave, and all I craved was going home. I wanted to go home so much, and you know, on I think it must have been day 8, I was walking around and I was just like, oh, I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do that, and I can't wait to see Dom, and I can't wait to see my dog, I can't wait to see all these things, I can't wait to do all these things. And you know, thinking of everything, I was thinking about my life, I was thinking about New Zealand and getting so excited, like so excited that I was like giddy, I was hyper, like I was stoked, I was so excited and like geared up for life. And then came off my lunch break, went into my meditation, and slowly my mood just went like completely changed. And I realized like the thing he'd been saying the whole way throughout is craving leads to misery. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I've been craving all of these things that I can't have right this second so intensely, so like it's all I wanted and I couldn't have them. And coming to that realization made me so deeply miserable. And that's something that, you know, I do, and I'm sure a lot of you guys do too. Like when you really, really want something with all your heart, and then you realize you've not got it, or you might never get it, and then you just like, oh, and then you're like, you just become miserable. And I was just like, oh my gosh, like I need to stop craving, I need to be in the moment, I need to just be happy. And so then I was like, oh my gosh, this meditation centre is amazing, I can't believe it's volunteer and it's a non-profit charity, and tried to look on the bright side of life and, raise my mood, but I was miserable for day 9. Day 8 and day 9 I was miserable. I was so unhappy, but trying to come out of it a little bit too, and I was on the home stretch by the end of day 9, so I was pretty happy, but trying to stay balanced, trying not to be too excited because I knew that that would lead to more misery. And so day 10, you wake up and the morning is as it normally is until about, I think it was like 9 o'clock. The silence is broken, and you watch the last video and he explains more about the technique and gives you more like philosophies and stories and whatnot, and then you can talk to people, and it's one of the most like intense experiences of my life, walking out of the hall and then just this like explosion of energy, like people just being so happy and ecstatic, and everyone had such big smiles on their faces and we all had so much to say, like, and when I first spoke I was just like, I don't know if I can I speak? Like, what is going on? Not speaking for that long is such a strange thing, and then you can hear yourself talking, and it's very like a very strange experience. So yeah, day 10 was a lot better, but I just really wanted to go home too. I was happy that I'd experienced it, and I was happy to hear other people's experiences and stuff, but I'm very introverted. I'm a very introverted person, so I found it quite overwhelming to be around so many people all in one go, and all of the extroverts were just like, woo, like really happy to be able to talk again, and I'm just like, whew, I'm ready to like retreat now, so I spent a little bit of time in my bedroom just being like, whew, it's all right, and then I'd go back again and talk to people and just give myself time to breathe. And I feel like that's something that I've learned, is that it's okay and it doesn't matter, and everyone's different, and I have like a tolerance level for how social I want to be, and that's fine, and it's good to not let yourself get overwhelmed, because otherwise it's so stressful. And so yeah, the meditation, you do the same meditation, I think you have like another 2 meditations throughout that day, and then he also teaches you metta meditation, which is this beautiful type of meditation where all of the love, all of the energy, all of the compassion and kindness that you've got, you radiate out into the world around you. You send loving thoughts to people that you love, people that have done bad to you, like everything, everyone. You just have love for all beings, and it's just like such a beautiful way to end the course. And so that's how you finish the meditations, and it just makes you feel so happy and so good about everything. My camera memory card ran out of space, so I can't really remember what I was saying, but I think I'd summed up like my whole experience. And so yeah, the 10 days were very intense, and day 11 you're allowed to go home. I left at about 8:15 in the morning, after volunteering to help clean up, because one of the things in like the Vipassana is to be charitable and to help others, and so they'd been so kind and been so lovely, so I helped them to clean up, and I cleaned the bathrooms of the dormitory I'd been staying in, and then I went home, and I was so happy to go home, but I wasn't elated and I wasn't like over the moon. I was just like, I was kind of equanimous, I guess. Like, I was looking forward to going home and I was looking forward to being home, but at no point was I like, like overjoyed with it. So that's a good thing, It was an interesting experience to have experienced that, because usually I would just be so excited like on the end of day 8 when I got so giddy, but I think I'd learned that that just leads to misery. So I was just happy that I was going home, and I was happy that I had experienced it, and I was happy that it was over. Mainly that's what happened really. And so yeah, the most rewarding thing I think was being able to stay for so long, being able to experience it all, but also like listening to the discourses. The things he says and his philosophies, his foundations are so like important to me. They're so in line with all my values. He talks about he kind of talks about minimalism, and he talks about not having attachment to things or people, or not needing to cover up emotions by buying things and not being too attached to something, because if you put attachment into something and you lose that thing, then you're so miserable. And I was like, that's so to do with like minimalism, like that's everything that I believe in, minimizing the amount of belongings you have so that the things you have are important to you, but if you lost those things, it's not the end of the world. There's more to life than stuff. So I was really happy to hear him talking about that, and and as well as that, kind of the law of attraction, which you all know that I'm super interested in, but the fact that positive thoughts leads to more positive thoughts, negative thoughts leads to more negative thoughts. If you have positive thoughts, generally you'll be a positive person, and you'll attract more positivity into your life, which is like the basic foundation of law of attraction. So I was fascinated to know about that, and learn more about it and have a deeper understanding, which was super interesting to me. And it was just really nice. And he talks about everyone who does Vipassana meditation has a vegetarian diet, but basically it's a vegan diet, and then they just have the options of cheese or milk, or yogurt. So you obviously, if you're a vegan like me, you don't put those things on top of your food. But I was able to eat all of the food on the course, and it was so delicious. So he talks about not harming others. There is 5 principles. I will explain them. Let me see if I can find them. It's called Sila, and it's the 5 precepts, which are to abstain from killing any being, to abstain from stealing, to abstain from sexual misconduct. So basically, don't rape anyone or don't force yourself on anyone, in a sexual way that they wouldn't enjoy, or you wouldn't enjoy if it was being done to you. To abstain from wrong speech, so no swearing, no being nasty, no saying horrible things, and to abstain from all intoxicants. So he says about not drinking alcohol, not taking drugs and things, and I think that's one area where I maybe disagreed with him a little bit, because he says that drinking alcohol and taking drugs causes you to become mean, or to say horrible things, or to say things you would never have said before. But I've never found that's the case with me. Like I just become happier, and I think that that's the thing, is like the awareness of yourself. If you drink alcohol and it makes you an aggressive and horrible person, then don't drink alcohol. But if drinking alcohol has a good experience, and you have a good time, and you can have, you can be aware of what you're doing still, I don't see any negativity to it. However, during this meditation retreat, I had no inclination to drink any alcohol anyway, but I mean, taking it into actual life, I think that's one thing where I would just be like, maybe not. But I don't drink that much alcohol anyway. I'm just trying to have like a broader understanding of it, I think, and like bring my own beliefs and values into his beliefs and values. And so one of the most important things that I learned is that meditation, I don't think I knew what meditation really was until going, and I now understand that meditation is like rewiring your brain's thought patterns. So every time that you have an itch and you scratch it, you're telling your brain to scratch an itch whenever you get an itch. So your unconscious mind just constantly is like craving scratching these itches. And if you've ever been in bed and you've got so comfortable and you just laid there and you're like, this is so good, and then you suddenly get this itch like right in the bottom of your toe, and you're like, no. And so you are so comfortable, but you will still move and you will still itch that toe, and it's like, why are you doing that? Because when you do this meditation, you realize that literally like maybe 2 minutes later that itching sensation will have gone, and you will have not had to have moved from this comfortable position. And that's something that I've learned. And also that if you're in pain doesn't last forever. Pain goes. Pain, it comes and it goes, and it's not eternal. And yeah, that's been truly like life-changing. Like just that philosophy, that understanding of life has been a game changer for me. And also like just learning that I have got willpower. Like if I want to do something, I set my mind to it, I can do it. One day, one of the mornings, I decided I'd sat for a whole hour, and I was like, you have 2.5 hours in the morning. You wake up at 4, and then at 4:30 you're supposed to meditate till 6:30. And I was like, why are they expecting us to do 2 whole hours of meditation when we only normally do 1 hour? And so I was like, I wonder if I could do 2 hours, let's see. So I went to the hall and I sat down, and I was like, right, let's do this. So I sat there, and 15 minutes in, you're like, oh. And then half an hour in, it gets like, okay, I'm ready for it to be over. 45 minutes is just absolute pure torture. And that last 15 minutes is just a nightmare. So I made it through the hour. And then I was like, the teachers come in about 45 minutes from the end of the meditation, and I knew that. And so I was listening for the door. I heard the door go, and I was like, I've got 45 minutes left. And so I knew that after 15 more minutes, the chanting would start. So sometimes he does these chants of, it's all in Sanskrit, and it's all just like positive, like happy words, happy things. And he's just telling you to be happy, to be like compassionate, to be loving, and it's all good stuff. And I knew that was going to start happening at 6, and I knew that would go on for a whole half an hour. And so once the chanting had finished, that would be it. And I got to the end of the chanting, and then I was just like, I've just done 2 hours of meditation. Like I sat there for 2 whole hours, and I've never ever been so proud of myself in my whole life. And I wish I could say that every time since that point I've been able to sit, because the next time I tried to meditate for like even an hour, I was so angsty, I was so itchy, and I was just like, and I've found that in the morning I can concentrate more than I can in the afternoon, and I think that's fine. And I think the thing is to just be happy with yourself, and to to see that you're trying, to see that you are trying your best, and to be proud of yourself when you achieve something, but not to take it too seriously, and not to cause negativity when you don't achieve what you want to achieve, but just know that you tried. So the thing I learned is that I am a morning person, like I said, 4 a.m, up like a light, and I'm so motivated, so happy, so I have no pain really anywhere. I have this tiny little headache, but it's not so bad, and I found that is in the morning, and I'm so good, so motivated, so driven, and I can achieve what I want to achieve. By the afternoon, my mood just slumps, and every day, like after lunchtime, would just be like so low until after we'd eaten food, and I'd still feel crappy, and then I'd do the meditation in the evening and just be like, oh, I want it to be over so much. And then I'd watch the discourses, and I'd be happier. I'd have had a bit of sensory input, and I would start to feel good, and he always ended it on a positive note, so I would feel a little bit happier, and then I'd start the next day, I'd wake up, I'd feel really good again, and so it just like this ebb and flow of life just kept happening. And now I recognize that, so now it's like, I always stay up late, and I always get up late, and now I realize that I've been missing the most productive part of my day, which is so silly. So yeah, I'm gonna try, I'll try and balance it with the current lifestyle that I have, but I want to make sure that I go to bed earlier, and I want to make sure that I get up earlier, because I'm losing so much creativity, so much productivity by staying in bed all my life. And I've found that I don't need that much sleep. I don't need to have all of these hours of sleep that I thought that I needed, and that sleeping is such a waste of life. Like, you need sleep, but you don't need that much sleep. You don't need to sleep for 10 hours a night. And I don't find that if I sleep for 10 hours a night, I even feel that rested anyway. So yeah, it's been a really amazing takeaway from this experience as well. And also, one of the most important things is my repetitive thoughts. So I have looped thoughts, all kinds of random things. But one of the things I started doing on one of the days was I would imagine the most awful situation that could happen, and someone dying, or something happening, or something being really bad, worst case scenario, and I would react to it in my head. I would just be playing it out like it was a story, and it would feel like it was happening. And I don't know if you guys have ever done this too, and even when it's a good thing, you do the same thing, you react to it, and you're so happy that it's happening and everything. And then I would come back to my senses and be like, why are you torturing yourself? Stop it, stop it, stop it. And in the discourse that evening, he said about this, and he told a story about it. There's a man who's painting a picture, and this picture is so good. It's this beautiful woman, and she's so pretty and so lovely, and it's just such a positive picture. And this man falls in love with this picture, and he's like, I'm marrying this woman. This woman is so beautiful. I'm in love with her. I'm in love with her. And people around him are like, you're a fool. You're a fool. It's a picture. You can't marry a picture. And he's like, no, I'm marrying this picture. She's beautiful. And the same thing opposite. If it's a horrible picture, he's drawn his worst nightmare, and he's crying, and he's so upset, and he can't understand, and he's just like, oh my god, I'm so scared of it, I'm so scared of it, I'm so scared of it, and just keeps going over and over and over. People would look at him like he was absolutely mental. And that's all that I was doing. I was creating these imaginary pictures, these imaginary scenarios in my head, and then I was reacting to them. How stupid is that? I'm in this present moment, and I'm okay. And except for in my brain, I'm making myself miserable intentionally. And I was just eureka moment, oh my gosh, I need to stop doing that. So becoming aware that I'm doing that now is so important to me, and being able to come out of that thought pattern and stop it. And the more I do that, the more I stop that from happening, the less it will happen, which is a really reassuring thing to know. And I've also found that one of the things he says as well is about 4 elements. So you've got water, air, earth, and fire. So yeah, I found that these elements are things that I need to keep me happy, to keep me grounded. So when I would feel crappy in the afternoon, after lunchtime, I would be like, right, come on, sort yourself out. You need to sort yourself out. So I would go and have a shower, which is the water element. And the water might be warm. It might be soothing on all of my muscles, which is the fire element. And then I would say, right, let's go outside. So I would go outside and be in nature, which is the earth element. And I would breathe in fresh air, which is the air element. And after doing all of those things, I would feel so much better. I would feel so much happier. And now that I know that, it's really interesting to me to know what I need to do to make myself feel better. When I feel like I'm in a slump, I need to get a shower, I need to go outside, I need to refresh myself and start over again. And by doing that, you retain the balance, and you maintain that balance in your life. So I don't know if that will help any of you guys. Like if you're feeling down, you know, have a shower, have a bath, you know, wash your face, splash your face with water, go outside, get some fresh air, and you'll feel so much better for it. Like nature always soothes the soul, I find. So the things that have changed for me, like the things I've noticed that have changed, are that I've now got a really deep appreciation for life and all living beings. And you know, I feel like I had compassion before, but I now understand it on such a deeper level. Like if someone's mean, or if someone's horrible, if someone kills someone, if someone's awful to someone, it's because they're going through something themselves. It's because they are having a challenge. They've had awful things happen to them in the past and it's causing them to be awful. They don't, he would say ignorant, I don't really like that word, but I guess it's a good like word to describe what happens. They're ignorant to the fact that they're suffering themselves, and so they want to cause suffering to others. And so by knowing that if someone's causing suffering to you, you can deflect it back to them and just be like, this is your stuff, you deal with it. Like, I don't want your baggage, I don't want your gifts of negativity, you take them back. And you know, you can understand it, you can have compassion. And one of the things he says is like the philosophies are all based on Buddhist philosophy. So you know, Buddha, he says, is a person, and a Buddha is someone who's a liberated person. So it's not like religious in any way or you know, anything like that. It's completely like, it's completely inclusive of all religions, or you know, all non-religious people. And so it's just like Buddha was a man who loved all. He loved all beings, all compassion to all. If someone was being awful, he would just give love, no hate, no like aggression, no nastiness towards anyone, just love, 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 and love always wins. And so that's been something like super interesting to take away from it, that if someone's being mean, if someone's being horrible, if someone says something awful, passive aggressive, you know, anything like that, just deflect it. Just either ignore it or just come out of it, say something positive. Because if you feed their negativity with negativity, it's going to create more negativity. If someone shouts at you and you shout back at them, they're going to shout back at you, and it's just this match of shouting, 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 and then you know, it's just no good. Like, it doesn't achieve anything. If you can be nice to them or be kind to them or bring them out of this mood, this miserable mood that they're in, rather than just helping them to stay in that mood, they will lift their vibration and they will become happier. You will stay happy and you won't have taken on all of their negativity. And it's just a really cool way, because I'm quite a sensitive person and I am really easily, well, I mean, I probably still do, but I'm going to try not to anymore, but I take on other people's emotions, and I've always done that. And it's something that I'm going to try to stop doing now, and I'm going to try and be more aware when someone's being negative around me, and then I become negative, because I want to be happy. I don't want to be negative. I've also found that my heart rate has gone down. You all know that I wear a Fitbit, and I found, like, I've looked at the statistics on it and I was really excited that I was allowed to carry on wearing it, but my heart rate was like 60 plus, like my resting heart rate, 60 plus every single day. And on days of high anxiety, you know, it was skyrocketed, so high. And if I was anxious all day, you know, it would stay high. During this meditation retreat, it's gone down to 54, you know, like solid. It's just gone so down, and it's just really interesting to see, like, I've been at peace this week. I've been really deeply at peace. I've been so rested and not anxious, and it's just been like a really interesting thing to be able to have experienced and documented, I think. You know, it's been truly interesting to be able to actually see like proof of my relaxation. And I've also found that I am no longer attached to my phone. When I was allowed my phone back, I wasn't really interested in it, and you know, I wanted to talk to people that I love and I wanted to let them all know I still existed. But I no longer, like, since I've been home, I've not watched any videos, I've not scrolled through Instagram, I've not wanted to consume, I've just wanted to create. I've wanted to, you know, write my Instagram post, I've wanted to share my wisdom with people, I wanted to tell people all about my experience, but I haven't wanted to watch other people, I haven't wanted to mindlessly consume, you know, stuff just to keep me preoccupied. And I think now that I've got like this groundedness to like about me, I mean, it might go away, I don't know, but right this second, all I want to do is create things. I want to make jewelry, I want to do all these things, I want to go outside, I want to do everything other than just be inside and just sit and just watch stuff mindlessly. Or, you know, I want to create, I want to be creative, and that's been a really interesting thing. I feel like I'm so much more productive. This morning I woke up and I was like meditating this morning, 'cause, you know, he asked you to do 2 hours a day. I'm going to try and do 2 hours. I'm going to do at least 1 hour every single day and see if I can fit it into my lifestyle. But I woke up early, obviously, because I've been getting up at 4, but I woke up at 7. this morning and I was like, right, meditate. So I meditated for a whole hour, made sure I didn't move, I was really focused. Then I was like, run, I'm gonna go for a run. Oh my gosh, I've missed running so much. So I went for a run and I did 5k, and then I came back and I was like, now what can I do? Now what can I do? You know, everyone else is still in bed. I was like, I'll do some yoga. So I did yoga, and then I was like, I'm gonna start writing this blog post. So, you know, like I've just been like on this hamster wheel of productivity, and it's felt so good. Like I feel so productive, I feel so like liberated from myself. And before I would just start watching YouTube videos or start watching this documentary, that documentary, whatever, and not negative things in any way, shape or form, but they would distract me from the things I needed to get done, and then I would end up behind and just on this like hamster wheel all the time. So I'm hoping to keep some sort of balance with this, you know, being able to carry on being creative, have time, like downtime too, but also just like enjoy creating and enjoy being productive and enjoy all this time that I seem to have that I didn't realise I had before. And like I said, you know, one of the biggest benefits is this hip pain that I was having has gone. It's just disappeared. I don't know where it's gone, and I hope that it stays away. I'll probably update you all in the future as if it comes back again, but for now it's gone, long gone. I'm working on this headache that I've got. It's like a weird headache. Right this second I've not got it, but I can feel deep inside this kind of like tiny little sensation. And I know if I started meditating right this second, eventually it would come and it would be so intense. So I'm going to work through that, and I'm going to see if that I can, you know, evaporate it. The thing with Vipassana is it's not like a cure-all. Like I don't meditate for 10 days and come out of it and I'm like a liberated person, you know, like it doesn't happen like that. It takes a lot of work, it takes a lot of progress. And one of the things he said like about this, and I know I'm really sorry about this video, it's so long, but I'm gonna keep talking because I feel like I just want to share it all. I want to share what I've learned, and it might help some of you out there. So yeah, meditation is this way of bringing yourself back into your body, making yourself more aware of the thoughts that you're having. So if there is a race and there's two people and they start at the starting line and they've got to get to the finish, you know, person one is a person who doesn't meditate, and we both set off at the same time, you know, the gun goes and you run, you start running. Person two is a Vipassana meditator, and so every now and then they come back into themselves and they realise what they're doing, and it puts the brakes on. So, you know, this person one's still running, person two's brakes have come on, so they've stopped, and this person's still running, and then you start running again, and then you stop again, and then you start running again, and then you stop again. Person one reaches the finishing line first, person two reaches it a lot later. So the basic gist of this is, if you are having an argument, if you're having a conversation, you are much less likely to act out of rage, to act out of temper, because you become aware of yourself more fast. So you might have done in the past, like you've said something and it's come out of your mouth before you've even been aware that you wanted to say it, and then you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't mean to say that, I didn't mean it. And what you mean is you didn't mean it, but you meant you didn't mean to say it out loud. So, you know, it makes those situations stop happening because you become more aware of yourself, like instantly, like, oh my gosh, I don't need to do that, or like, oh, this person's been negative because of this, not because of me, and it makes you more aware. So that's, you know, that's a really interesting thing I've learned about meditation. And so in general, I think that I've learned to be more compassionate with everyone, not just people that are kind, not just people that are trying to do well in the world, but to be compassionate to people that are awful, to people that are mean, to people, you know, that have done bad things. People can change, and that's something to realise. Everything can change, everything changes, nothing stays the same, you know. Those things have been drilled into me the last 10 days, so be, you know, prepared to hear me say those things quite a lot. But, you know, I shared on Instagram a post, and one of the things it said on that was, if there is no peace in the minds of individuals, how can there be peace in the world? Make peace in your own mind first. So yeah, if you are peaceful, if you are happy, you're going to create more happiness to all of the people around you, and it's just going to be this ripple effect. So yeah, you know, he's a very wise man. And I've learned a lot of stuff this week, you know, and I'm sure there's heaps of things that I've missed, probably so many things. And I'm going to write a blog post. It's probably going to be a very long blog post as well, but, you know, I'll leave the links to that below so that you can check it out. You know, we might get a little bit more information that, you know, I've maybe forgot to include in this video. So I really hope that you check the blog post out just so that you can kind of scout through it. And if it's something you've ever been interested in doing, definitely do it. You know, once the seed of the Vipassana gets sown, it just stays there. And, you know, you might think right this second, you know, that sounds interesting, but I'm not ready right now. That's fine. Just wait. And when the time's right, you'll go. And when you go, you'll be like, why am I doing this? But then you'll get through the 10 days and you'll be like, oh, you know, that was all right. somebody that I, you know, spoke to afterwards said that they likened it to childbirth. Like, you know, you get pregnant and you're like, oh my god, it's going to be amazing, and you don't realise how painful it's going to be. But you kind of have this idea that it's going to be painful, but you've never experienced it in your life. And so then you give birth and it's the worst experience of your whole life. It's so painful and everything, you know, like, you know, it's vile. And then you come out of it with this beautiful child and you forget about all that pain and it's all gone away. And, you know, you're so happy and you're like, oh, you know, it was so good. And then you do it all over again. And, you know, the pain comes back and blah, blah, blah. So that's basically Vipassana. Like, you know, you start off on the journey and you're so happy, and then you do the Vipassana meditation and it's like torture. And then you come out of it on day 10, you're like, oh my gosh, that was so good, you know. And over time, I'm guessing you forget how painful it was, and then you go through it all again, and this just keeps happening. But every time that you do it, you know, it brings more peace, it brings more happiness. So it is a very positive thing to do. I would be so interested to know if any of you have done this course. I would be super interested to find out about your experiences. And if you've got any questions at all, you know, about the philosophy, about anything to do with it, the routines, you know, anything like that, then just leave me a comment below, because I'm more than happy to share my wisdom, to share, you know, my thoughts about it. Or, you know, if you want to know anything at all about it, then just let me know. Because I think if more people practice Vipassana, we would have such a happy world, you know, so much more peace, so much more harmony, so much more compassion, and just so much more love, like so much more love in the world. Everyone would be so much happier. No one would want to hurt anyone anymore, and it would be a lot better. So, you know, if you do want to do this retreat, if you are interested in learning about the meditation technique, then yeah, just leave me a comment below and I will reply to you as quickly as I can. And yeah, I think that's it. I've probably blabbered for so long. I've got no idea how long this video is going to end up being. And if you've sat through the whole thing, then you're an absolute machine, and thank you so much for supporting me. You know, if you skip through, absolutely, completely understand. You know, it is a very long video, and to find that much time in your day to watch someone talk endlessly like that, you know, it takes a lot. So thank you. Thank you for everyone who's watched this far. You know, I've missed you all so much. I've missed this community, and coming back to all of your lovely comments and seeing all of your lovely faces, and, you know, just reading everything, being so positive. It's just been like really nice to have, I feel like everything that I've learned, I've come back and I've just seen, you know, I've reaped the benefits of being positive, being kind, and, you know, sharing the love, and then people just doing the exact same thing back. It's like we're all feeding each other with positivity, and it just makes me so happy. Like, I'm really proud of this community, and I do love you all to pieces, and I did miss you all so much this week. So I'm really excited to get back into making videos. If you have any video ideas that you'd love to see from me, then just leave them below, and I will see if I can get around to doing them in the next few weeks. Yeah, that is it from me. So if you enjoyed this video, please give me a big thumbs up. You know, liking these videos helps me to reach more people, and it really supports my channel, so please consider doing that. And if you have not subscribed already, then please consider doing that too. I do videos about all kinds of topics, you know. I don't just go on meditation retreats. I talk about topics like minimalism, veganism, becoming more conscious, living with awareness and intention, and I try and cover all of those different topics over the course of a month. You know, I try and do different videos here and there and try and balance out my content. So, you know, just bear with me if you're interested in one topic and one day I talk about another one. I will get round to all of the topics one day. So yes, thank you so very much for watching. I really hope that you all have an absolutely amazing day. You know, you're all wonderful and you all deserve so much happiness. Thank you guys, I love you all. Bye.